Back in May of this year, I streamed a Q&A session with the team behind Akira, an indie puzzle game coming out later in 2022. I hope to do more of these in the future, so if you or someone that you know is interested in this type of thing, shoot me a message. Without further ado, here's the footage.
And we're back! Welcome! My name is Jesse, the host for today's Q&A. We have two wonderful people with me today, Jason and Craig. They are behind Akira, which, depending on who you ask, can be pronounced any number of ways, and we'll learn more about that later. But I've just been captivated by this game in the last week, and I wanted to learn more about it from the people behind its mastery. So Jason Newman is art and programmer, and Craig Collver is the composer. So thank you both for spending some time with me today to share your game, and whenever you're ready, we'll just jump right into some questions.
Oh, hey.
Let's go.
Glad to be here in my living room.
Yes. Your living room. Now, Craig, you are in California. I remember we chatted just a bit before we started the stream just to even things out, and still had a rough patch when we launched, but that was fine. We're here now. We're working. So you're in California in the Bay Area. Was that right?
Yeah, I got. You want my full address?
Yeah, I was curious. I do want to send you a thank you gift for such an amazing soundtrack, to be honest. But tell me more about California. Man. How long have you been there?
Oh, I've been in the Bay Area my whole life, just as of lately, it's been nice. I got lucky and got a good job, so can kind of live a little more comfortably around here because it's pretty difficult. Rent is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But things can just get better. And Jason and I have known each other since like 1995 or something. Something crazy like that. And so that's how we know each other, is the Bay Area. Met as kids.
Did you guys go to school together, or were you just neighbors on the block?
Both. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, good times.
and how many grades did you travel through together? I mean, were you just kind of like thick and thin, or were you in and out of different schools around the same region in California, or were you just Siamese stuck to the sides?
That's a good question. Jason.
Yeah, well, so I moved onto the same street as Craig in 5th grade, and then we were in school together until 8th grade. And then once it was time to go to high school, me and my family moved away to another part of the Bay Area, but we stayed friends.
Yeah, not far.
Yeah.
And Jason's a year older than me.
Oh, I see. So a little competition across time.
We never got in the same classes because of that.
Oh, that's always a little frustrating.
So you have to listen to my wisdom because I'm 1 year older.
That's okay. I can handle that.
Well, it sounds like you guys are brothers at heart, even though you're not explicitly related. Close enough, so.
Oh, yeah.
So has the distance, now Jason, for those who don't know, Jason's in Japan. He's been living out there for a while. And has that distance been difficult on you guys' relationship, or is it just kind of another part of life you're dealing with?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been hard to hang out with any friends lately, you know. But how long you been there, Jason? A couple years?
Yeah, about 2 years.
And like we kind of talk more than actually meet up. As you get older, it's lives kind of separate, but we've always talked and stuck together. But yeah, since Akura's been a project, definitely talk and hang out more.
That's great. Back to Akura. Were there other names for it in the past, or was that the name from the get-go? I mean, how did you end up on that on that page? I'm really curious because we touched on it for a second about how the different pronunciations that you've heard may relate to its origin. So tell me about it, Jason.
Craig, maybe you remember more of the original names than I do, but I remember one of the main original names, I guess it
21.
was just kind of like a placeholder name, was Mysterious Islands.
Yes, love it.
Um, so it's kind of I don't know how other game developers work, but I didn't have everything worked out when I first started making it, and there was no story in the beginning, and it it certainly didn't have anything to do um, with the story that's in mind now.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it was just called Mysterious Islands, and the the name is like it's a New Zealand it's a story that comes from New Zealand, like an ancient, legend. And when once the game was like further along, and I had an idea more like a more fleshed out idea of what I wanted to do with the story, then I started looking into these old legends and things,
Hmm.
and then I found that one, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like, so I'm not like recreating the story of Akura, which is this New Zealand myth, but it is like a part of it, and there's uh, a bunch of other ideas from these like creation myths that every culture has creation myths.
Right.
It's
Um,
it's a it's a snake deity, right?
mhm.
Akura
Akura.
Yeah,
is a
so
is a snake deity.
mhm.
Akura.
Yeah, so when I started doing research into these creation myths, it's so amazing and insane how every culture has creation myths, and the ties between them are mind-blowing between totally different cultures.
Hmm.
It's just like humans all sort of have like the same ideas,
They're
and
gravitating
and
towards that same theme.
yeah, and so like in a lot of cultures, snakes are like a symbol of evil.
Hmm.
And so it's just such a common element of all these legends and myths and stuff. So I chose Akura because of the that sort of like common thread, but also um, because of the story itself. But another factor, like as far as like sort of, from a business perspective, was that I was looking around at other, sort of names that exist out there online and stuff, and this was one that was
Yeah.
just like totally devoid. Like
Hmm.
there's the creation myth. There's like a Wikipedia page about it or something, and so I was like, oh, this is
Perfect.
this is perfect because yeah, it's like it's got all these elements I like, and sort of nobody's already claiming it, and nobody's like talking about it. It's not like widely known. So
So
it all
sick when
kind
you search Akura, the game comes up like first.
Yeah, I
of
noticed
yeah.
that. I was like, really impressive SEO for an indie game. That's you're right up there,
Yeah.
number one. But it is cool when you have like a source material that is sort of untouched, like you've uncovered this kind of discovery. That's pretty cool. That sounds like it was a well worth search to find something that was like that. Craig, what would we find you up to on days when you're not working on Akura's music and sound?
Oh, a lot of random stuff. Lately I've been wanting to get back on the golf course. It's always nice, just nice scenery, you against the ball.
Hmm.
Unless you're playing with you play with other people, but it's really just you and the ball, which
Yeah.
is just kind of a cool way to think of it. Like the ball's just sitting there. The only way it's going to get anywhere is you, and you gotta put it in the right places. And then try not to rage when you lose all your expensive balls.
It's a good metaphor
It's
for
a lot.
life. It's not going
But
to
It's a
move
lot
unless
like
you hit it.
yeah, and I'm into sports, Bay Area, so I like the Oakland A's. I'm looking forward to going back to Oakland A's games. Warriors for basketball. Unfortunately, they just got taken out,
Hmm.
but they'll be better next year. Um, and yeah, I don't know, just kind of a sporty-ish guy, I guess.
So you got golf, and you said you had a pretty good career going there. What is that? What is your day job, and what is keeping you doing it?
And what's the address of your workplace?
Yeah, I'm making a
Well,
list.
that I can give out. It's there's plenty of security there.
Yeah, that's
No,
a
yeah, I'm
challenge. Chat.
a
Try to
station.
get into Craig's workplace.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with these security guards that are 65 years old.
Ooh.
Um, it's yeah, so I'm a stationary engineer for United States Postal Service data center. Um, Stationary engineers, like, building engineer. We do the HVAC stuff. We make sure the data center's cooling system is all working, just different pumps, machinery, cooling towers, chillers,
Gotcha.
electrical, plumbing. Uh, so yeah, and that comes with being in a union, which is nice.
Oh,
Pretty much the only way I've been able to live comfortably in this area, um, for sure. So that is what's keeping me with that job.
and keeping you in California, you think too? Do you think you'd go somewhere else if that job had a change of some
I'd
kind?
say the job 25% holding me from
Hmm.
moving anywhere, 75% family around here.
Hmm. And Jason,
Um,
you went out to Japan about 2 years ago. Did you take family with you, or did you meet family there?
I came here with my wife, and the reason that we came out here was that we visited Japan on vacation, and we were living in the Bay Area at the time, and we just loved it so much. It kind of creeped into our psyche that like, oh man, like should we try to move there? So my wife is a teacher. She's a science teacher, and the crazy thing was that at the time in the Bay Area where we were living, the Bay Area, California, in case anyone in the chat doesn't know, the cost of living there was so outrageous that we both had like really good jobs and we were still below the poverty line.
Wow.
It was just unbelievable. And it was
Right.
like, you know, the anywhere else we would have like, we would be, doing much better off. But so
the
and then
battle out here.
after visiting here, there's like a lot of misconception that Japan is so expensive, but
Hmm.
the cost of living is actually not that bad compared to especially the Bay Area of California. So anyway, my wife being a teacher, she just started applying for jobs out here and then she got one and then so we moved and everything I was doing is like could be done with remote work, and then developing the game too, as I can do that anywhere. So yeah, it all just ended up working out. And then we just came here and we were just like, let's just try it out. Let's just see how it goes.
That's great. That's
Very
great when it
cool, man.
works out the way you expect it and hope it to.
Yeah.
I see a few questions in the chat, and it looks like we did answer kind of one of them. Craig, we were talking about what kind of work you do. But do you, I did have actually a question in my list in that regard. Have you done any formal training or education in regards to music, or have you ever done like classes with that stuff?
I wish.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bad about that. Yeah, I mean, like I've just kind of been messing around with music for a couple decades, I guess. And I try, like now it's a lot easier. I can look up instructions on the internet, YouTube videos and stuff like that, and
Right.
learn different chord structures and uh, scales and all that. But like, yeah, pretty much by just playing by ear for a while. I do know notes on the keyboard and chords and scales. I played with a band for about 5 years. Jason, talk about how you get to the point where a puzzle works and you're happy with it. how do you get to the point of
Oh,
creating
yeah.
a puzzle that not only works but is also creative?
Yeah. That's a our microphones are hot. You can hear me?
We're hot.
All right, good. Um, yeah, that is a very long and intense process. Um, but so I'll start with the basic mechanics of an island, like for instance, the stone island in the demo. You have the stone blocks and you have the crystals, and the stone blocks can break the crystals, and you have your stony boys and they do all the wonderful things they can do, and the stone block stops them, it doesn't break, blah blah blah. So I have those,
Stony Hawks.
stony hawks. I have those basic mechanics, and then I'll go from there where, I mean, first of all, I start with the layout of the island where where I need to introduce concepts and do. Uh-oh, that's my cat. I need to do.
Meow.
He's feeling sick right now.
Uh,
Hold on one second.
Poor guy.
Oh, who's sick?
Yeah, I got a little sick kitty.
Oh, he's talking about how he comes from plan to puzzle, or from
Yeah, from how do I get to the point of like a workable puzzle? Um, so then I'll have like an idea of um, I start with the introduction to the island that teaches the player the new mechanics, and then there's a sort of a bit of guidance towards like the god on the island and things like that. Um, but the bit of open world aspect of the game, I have some rewards for people who are more into exploration. So if they go off the sort of like obvious path, they will find little things like keys and things like that. Then once you go to that God screen and you get the key, the big key, and you can start branching out on that island, that's when I'll start to do things where I'm experimenting with the mechanics, and I'll get some idea like, okay, this is how the basic mechanics work. How about some weird interactions, and try to get the player to experiment with the basic mechanics to figure out these weird interactions and like edge cases and things like that.
mhm.
Um, and and I'll start with that idea. Like, okay, the solution to this puzzle is that they have to figure out this kind of weird interaction, but it's not too weird. Like, it's natural, right? Like, once you figure it out, or once you get that aha moment, you're like, that does make sense. That's how I want it to be. I don't want it to be like a surprise. Like, you're like, that
Mm.
doesn't make any sense. Um,
Something that's
so I'll
just kind
start.
of barely out of reach of your current frame of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All you need to do is exploration and testing to figure it out, hopefully. And then once you hit that thing, so I'll start with that, and I'll sort of go backwards from there sometimes, um, and obfuscate things, add more steps to the puzzle. Um,
You're not like scribbling things on pen and paper. You're using like your
yeah,
dev tools in Game Maker
I was
and just
curious.
sort
yeah.
of
Yeah, have you ever
situating things
been
around.
like? Did you ever plan things on paper initially for these puzzles, or?
Yeah, usually I don't do pen and paper for design work as far as puzzles go. I do a lot of pen and paper work for overarching um, layout type of stuff, like,
Hmm.
and general ideas, like for mechanics or something, like um, what does a stony boy do and what does a stone block do and how do they interact? Like I'll write a lot of stuff down on paper and I'll do little
Hmm.
drawings and stuff and try to work that out. But then individual puzzle design, I feel that the best thing that has worked for me is just working in the tool and sort of like um, laying it out and then running through it in my mind and seeing if it sort of works in my mind. And sometimes it doesn't work. Like I'm like, oh yeah, this is 100% puzzle, A plus design, and then I compile the game and I run it and it's like unsolvable or something, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, that's I do it in the tool generally because it's like faster paced and I feel like I don't generally have like the best idea just right off the bat. Like it's all about iterations.
Right.
And then so once I have something that I think is workable, then I'll usually send it off to Craig and Dan, who will play these like very alpha versions of islands, and I just watch them play through it and see what issues they face and what feedback they have. And there's like lots of times where stuff is just like, yeah, it's just like so bad. It doesn't come off the way I was hoping it would, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
And then it's just I think it's just constant iterations. I think that's the most important part of it.
Craig, on back to music, the first time you had to make, I think you had mentioned it was the title theme, and
Mhm.
that was the first track you had made for the game. I mean, did that just kind of flow out of you immediately, or was it something you workshopped and iterated on, just like Jason's doing?
So yeah, Jason kind of gave me some guidelines on, he gave me that riddle of like, let me hear something tribal, aboriginal, tribal instruments, uh, epic kind of sounding. Um, and so I put those together and the title screen song, which was the first, I don't think that was even edited much other than like mixing and mastering. I think it was just kind of like nailed it for Jason.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so pretty lucky.
That always feels good when you
I
can get
really
it
don't
on the
think I
first,
had to
second
change
try.
much on that one.
Yeah. And what kind of, I mean, there's a lot of shakers, there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of drums in that. Is that pretty much like half and half of your real recordings and virtual instruments? Like, is there a particular song that has more virtual, more real, or is it all pretty balanced throughout?
Yeah, it's really a big melting pot of like
Hmm.
samples and live recordings. Um, of course, I don't have every instrument that is being used, so those are samples. And when I use samples, I try to customize it and not just use the plain sample. I try to change it up a little bit,
Hmm.
even though that it's royalty free samples. Like I buy the samples so I can use them. Um, but like yeah, like there's been songs where it's just all my live instruments and keyboards,
Hmm.
and then there's songs where there's some samples. I don't think there's a song where it's all samples. Like never. I'll always have to put something of my own on it or change it up. Like I don't I won't allow myself to just take like four samples and then that's the song.
Right,
Like
right.
no way.
Yeah, because it's not
Uh
you. Yeah, it's just like cut and paste stuff.
yeah.
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 Do you have a
But
preference
like
in what you're
there's
making?
some obvious things like I got sitar sounds on my keyboard. I got guitar sounds on my keyboard, but sometimes it's obvious where it's like that's a real sitar. I don't have one or no have a clue how to play it.
Right.
So I tweak up the sample. Um, Let me think. What was one that's kind of like that? Well, I don't want to give any spoilers, but we know that there's the tidal reef and the water god for that
Hmm.
island uses sitar samples that I've mixed around to give it the sound that it has.
Hmm.
And the first island, I think in the demo, some of those sounds are definitely samples that I've tweaked around, and then I add my own thing to it. So yeah, it's just a big mix. And I used to only do like a long time ago, only do like samples and like mess with the samples. And I was just like, it would be perfect if I can do a bunch of my own recordings and samples, and that would really be the best that I could do, other than buying all the instruments and learning them myself,
Right, absolutely.
which
It's
is
a project
expensive
on
and
its
time
own.
consuming. But I
Yeah.
always like I really want to find the time to get better at playing keys, to learn the guitar and bass better. Um, the only guitar, the actual guitar I really do is just like picking, and sometimes I'll look up how to do a chord,
Hmm.
record the chord, and like I can't do live guitar. I can write and record it, but I can do live keys,
Was
and
that your position in
percussion.
the band that you were with?
Yeah, keys. It was like a hip hop rock reggae band, and I had like three different keyboards,
Oh,
and I'd be
nice.
playing something on this keyboard over here while playing something over here. It was pretty fun.
That takes talent, man. That takes a lot of
Uh,
focus. That's impressive.
yeah, yeah. It was just practice. But like,
I wanted to I forgot I wanted to add earlier about like the musical background stuff about how when we were kids, like your dad, he was like in a band before and everything, and he got like a drum set and stuff, and we would all be like banging on the drums,
yeah,
and he
Little
always
jam
had like
sesh.
music software on the computer and stuff.
yeah. We started with like Acid Music. I think it's
Yeah.
Acid Pro now,
Oh, wow.
and
Whoa, that jogged a
and
memory for me. I totally forgot about that program.
yeah,
Man.
yeah. And just messing around with samples, and we had a keyboard, and he had electronic drums. And yeah, so that's
Hmm.
kind of where that started. I think I was mid high school, and I even played drums for just a jam band back in mid high school called the Foot Clan.
The Foot Clan?
The Foot Clan.
That's an amazing band name.
I don't know if it's taken now, but back then I don't think it was.
Please reform the Foot Clan. I need this band in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
life.
yeah.
I need more Foot Clan. Is there anything new you've learned or had to learn about music, like a workflow or a tool, or I mean even an instrument that you just really needed a real recording of, like through this project? Like anything you'd have to change, or like what is new that you have learned because of Akura?
Oh, I got a lot of different um, instruments, like the kalimba, the bongos, shakers. Jason sent Rain Stick and Frog Boy,
Oh,
Wood
awesome.
Frog Boy. I got I haven't been able to use it much. This tongue drum,
Yeah.
Oh, very
tongue drum.
cool.
See if
Yeah.
Discord can pick that one up.
No.
Discord hates it.
Dang. Those are beautiful, though. I have seen a few videos of those being played, and I want one
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah. Steel tongue drum. And yeah, like some microphones. Lately, I got a new condenser mic with a little. It's like a little preamp it's only this big, and it goes in the back of the mic,
Hmm.
and it actually works pretty good. It fires up the mic feed input, and so that's going to be used for the next time I record bongos, because I was recording bongos with good mics before, but didn't have that preamp, um,
Hmm.
and I just have to boost it all up in the music program Ableton. Um, but yeah, lots of there's probably some other things around here, like I got a canna, which is a Peruvian flute,
Ooh.
and I was trying to learn that. It's really hard. Uh, and finally started getting some tones out of it, and then I went to record it, and it's out of tune.
Oh no. Oh.
It
What do
was
you
like
even do in that
one of those
situation?
like $50 ones from Amazon. So I was like,
Oh,
you if you want a real one, like $400, dude.
oh, dang.
Yeah. That's
Can
But
with
you?
like ocarinas, you know? That's like a popular one because of Ocarina of Time. And it's like to get like the base level real ocarina is like $300.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah, like you get like
Whoa,
ooh,
he's
there.
got it. Is that the real deal?
Yeah. Get
this is like,
you can get them for like $10, $20,
yeah, yeah.
$50 even, and it's like it's not gonna compare,
I
you
think
Hmm.
that
know.
one that I showed is in tune. Um, that yeah, it was like maybe a little over 100. But yeah, it wouldn't be as good as the 300, $400 ones. You get what you pay for
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
for
with these
sure.
sure.
instruments, and they like to charge you.
Have you found a use for that yet? Like in the Core soundtrack or like in any of your other projects?
A little bit, not too much.
Hmm.
I still got to learn how to do it, and it's kind of high. It's kind of high pitched, so I
It's
have
kind
to
of an
figure
odd one
out
to
how
play.
to. Yeah, it's really high, so maybe with some reverb and a little delay, might be able to use it for Akura, give it kind of have some, make it a little more chill than just like a high end like
Right.
straight woo sound, you know?
People don't like that when they're playing puzzle games to get like a sudden screeching sound.
Really? They don't like that shrill business in their ear?
Yeah.
You
Well, I
guys did
think
another
I,
game together, Mars Colony, and that
Mhm.
was, it looked like it was a jam game. Is that correct?
Yeah, you've done your
And
research.
just like a month ago or something, right?
Yeah. Hold on one sec. Okay, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. So,
I think Jesse's got a little bit of a feedback.
Can you guys hear an echo
Maybe
on my mic?
just from the your
I
speakers,
can hear.
maybe.
I can just turn those down. Honestly, I
I'm
should
not
just
sure.
switch to the headphones anyway. Um, but while I'm doing that, oh, and now it's working. I mean, maybe it's just an intermittent problem. I'm not sure. Craig, are there any other people in your household or your family that you're able to play music with, or like, do you do any projects with them anymore? Like we said, your dad was in a band once upon a time.
Um, my cousin a little bit. He's got his band. Um, I added some things on one of their songs, but I didn't go through. But I might do some more. It's a different genre of what I do. They're really raw and like live recording drums and guitars, which is cool. Uh, but as of now, pretty much solo.
Well, you seem to be
Uh,
doing well
when it
like
comes
that anyway.
when it comes to when it comes to music.
Yeah. Do you prefer it that way, or I mean, do you like the kind of team player setting when it comes to music anyway?
Uh, so I don't have much experience like collaborating on music outside of like being in person and jamming together. So, I'd be open to that. Tried it a couple times. Uh, but it's just so different. Just writing and recording yourself
Hmm.
and making a song compared to like jamming with a band and just different kinds of cool feelings. Solo, if I make something I actually like, it feels good. But jamming with other people, like having that kind of chemistry when things come together, it's just like, oh man, this is so sick, dude. Like all
Yeah.
the like everyone's different instruments and then it comes together and sounds awesome. Like probably probably the coolest is to is to be able to do live music
Hmm.
and jam with people and share the energy.
Yeah. That
And
energy is hard to recreate, or probably impossible outside of those settings. It's like
yeah, yeah,
collaboration in its most pure primal form, banging stuff together. but but
yeah,
in a
yeah.
beautiful way. I brought up Mars Colony because this and Akura, you guys are working together, doing games, doing music. After this is over, do you expect to continue to work together, do another project, or
Oh
branch
yeah.
out, take a break?
No, for sure. This team that we have right now with Craig doing the music and Dan doing the QA is this is my dream team as it stands. Everybody works so well on their own and is sort of like, really good in their own fields, but we're all sort of like new to this thing, right? But everybody is really good about just sort of progressing um, without that kind of like micromanagement, like I was talking about earlier. Like none of us, I think, like want micromanagement or want to micromanage anybody else. And so it's like it feels so good to be able to tell like Craig, like, hey dude, like check out this screenshot shot, like make a lava song. And like I can just say, hey Craig, like I'm thinking of so one thing that we did for this like fire island that I'm working on right now is like me and Dan, Dan who's our QA guy is like super knowledgeable about video game music. Like me and him both compiled all the lava music songs that we knew of from video games that we liked and into this playlist, and I use that a lot when I'm working to get inspired is just very thematic music, okay?
Mm.
And this genre of music, lava video game music, is actually very lacking. I was surprised. Like I thought, like, dude, there's gonna be so many good lava songs, but actually it's a pretty short playlist. But
There is though. There is the Donkey Kong Country too, dude. How am I gonna
yeah,
do better than that?
there's a couple of tracks that are just carry the whole genre. But so I have this playlist, and I'm listening to it while I'm designing the new island and stuff. And like that's all I need to do is say like hey Dan, um like I'm trying to put together like cool lava music. And then Dan has all this great input and then we make this dope ass playlist and then I can go, hey Craig, here's the screenshots. I'm listening to this playlist and I want it to be like in this genre, but also obviously like, you know, you
Akura
can just
style.
throw these things at Craig like I want it to be lava music that's retro and fits in this genre, but also this genre is not very well defined, but also it needs to be an Akira style, which is like cross-cultural and like vaguely ancient and otherworldly and all that. And then he'll just come up with something, And that's what I love. I love this team in that way where we can just like sort of shoot things at each other and not worry about it and not have to worry about what the other person is doing.
Mm.
Um, and then no egos or anything because we're all friends. So we can, just tell each other, like, oh no, that's like no good, retry or whatever.
Mm.
Or, they play my puzzles and it's just like, oh no, dude, that's that sucks. Like they're playing they're doing like video
I never
recordings
said
of these
that.
playthroughs. And they're like, I can tell when they're getting frustrated, and it's just like, yeah,
I rage a little bit, especially
well,
when the
no big
puzzle
deal.
is impossible to solve and I spend an hour on it.
I
Yeah,
definitely had those
so
moments in the demo, but now I feel like a fool because it was totally pointless. Everything's solvable in the demo. I was just like not reading things carefully enough. But that's great. You guys have an environment that is open, like open door policy. It's frictionless. It sounds like, you can come to each
and
other with criticisms about each other's work, and it's all constructive. I mean, you're all here to achieve the same goal, which is make a great game that you all find enjoyable to play and that you want to share with others, right? So I think you're all doing
Yeah.
a lot of work to reach
So
that goal cooperatively, and it's impressive
it,
stuff.
in the future, like if we were to start a studio, which I would love to do someday, um, I think one of the main, like, I really like this dynamic that we have going on, and like Craig's just so masterful with the music and everything, and then Dan is like a jack of all trades, you know. Um, but I think the main thing that I would be looking for is like somebody to sort of handle the social media and promotion aspect
Oh
of it,
God,
because I think
yes.
that's the thing that we all hate the most and it's the most difficult.
I hear that is one of the most frustrating parts of being an indie developer in general. It's just like pushing your product out to the market well before ahead of its release, and like building a community is the most difficult part. And yeah, like Piggy Bank just said in chat, full-time job.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
Well,
man.
And while you can't afford to pay anybody to actually do that full-time job, I doubt you will have a hard time finding anybody in the Discord community or your Twitter followers who would be willing to take a stab at it. It's like you're amassing this following, and the name is
see,
picking up.
that's one of the main things though that I feel really passionately about though, is that I don't want to even though Craig and Dan are helping me out. We're
Hmm.
like all best friends. We grew up together. We have an understanding. They're taking a cut of the profits of the game. I'm gonna make sure they get paid properly. Like if the game is really successful, then I'm going to pay them, like a proper wage, as well as, they have like a cut of the profits and things like that. We'll see how it goes, but that's something I feel really passionate about, is that I don't want to have anybody that's doing anything for free.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not gonna, so that's why I want to wait until we can sort of like start a studio, like make everything official, Because you're absolutely right. I think there would be plenty of people that would say like, yeah, I'll volunteer my time and all that. But it's like we have an understanding as like close friends that grew up together,
Right.
And and even though I'm, a man of my word and I would, pay this person eventually or something, I just take issue with the fact, this is like a common thing in the tech industry, is like these like unpaid internships and these kind of ideas like that.
Hmm.
Like I couldn't bring myself to do that.
Yeah.
So for now it's all on us, and we'll see what happens, with the game in the future, and hopefully because as far as strangers go, if I approach somebody that I don't know, um, I'm gonna be very upfront, like it's gonna be like a paid job kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Well, that sounds like a smart move. Honestly, you're not inviting any of that friction that you guys have done well to avoid, with your current system and your current team, and I think that's a smart move. And yeah, you don't want to feel like you're going to let anybody down in terms of what you can deliver back to them, whether it be like, is there enough work to do, or am I going to get paid at the end of it all? Like, as you say, obviously you're going to keep your word, but like, it's a slippery slope, compared to what you already have going. It totally makes sense. I think you're making the right decision there. Um, Craig, what's the ideal outcome for you in your music career in relation to Akura? I mean, do you want to continue seeking sound credits in video games, or is this just like a bonus feature to the rest of your music projects and your life?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to like release instrumental albums, and it's pretty hard for them to gain traction. And again, I just the marketing and social media part of it is pretty difficult, and just like something it's just not enjoyable. Like I don't want to like just keep slapping people in the face with my children's pictures being music. Like,
Yeah,
look, 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 you know what I mean? Like,
right. Yep.
uh, And so it's hard to get something like that rolling. Now, if it's a project like a video game, I think it will reach more ears and I put a lot of my other music just out for free. Like I don't really care about getting money off that. I just want people to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like pretty much right now, I think everything I have on the internet that's not free is Akura, and that's because people will be able to buy the album or people on Kickstarter, um, you know, uh, chimed in to get that extra album for whatever they put down.
Right.
Um, and so I can't like put Akura music out for free download, when people have already paid for it.
Makes sense.
Even though people can go to my YouTube videos and extract it or whatever, like whatever, you're not going to get the same quality. It's,
Right.
you know,
And you're not going to get all the
YouTube.
bonus tracks that sounds like are just waiting to be heard by all the Akura
Yeah.
fans.
So yeah, I mean, like best best thing for me is to either go out there by myself and do shows and or gather some friends and be like, hey man, I got these songs, let's go do some gigs. Um, that would be the only way to really get that side of the music out.
Hmm.
But I think making video game music is pretty cool and it gets more ears. I just want to get more ears and entertain people and have people feel good and enjoy it, you know?
That is the goal. That's the goal to have with this type of medium, with any art, right? It's like that's why we do it. We want to share, we want to show, and not it's not about showing off. It's just about look at what
Sharing.
my emotions are.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a glass case of emotions.
Milk was a bad choice today. Um, let's see. I'm seeing a lot of these questions we actually already went through. Oh, Craig, can you recall it's a specific time that Jason provided? I mean, it sounds like you'd already mentioned this a few times actually, but like you said one of the songs had to be sent back like 8 times, the cave ambience song. Is there another song like that had, back lots of back and forth and a lot of iterations that you just had a tough time getting beyond, or are we pretty much in the best rhythm that could be in terms of pumping out tracks and levels?
Well, like yeah, Jason was just talking about the lava island volcano. Um, I've actually made that song a week ago, but I haven't sent it yet.
Mm.
Uh, I was working on it more last night, just more mixing. Just trying to clear up some muddy areas. It's lava, so it is kind of more bassy,
Mm.
so it's kind of more darker sounding. Because I mean, right? I mean, like all the video game lava songs are kind of like
Yeah.
a little bassier,
Gloomy,
a little
gurgly
darker.
lava.
When it gets to the
So
volcano area in video games, it's usually not like a happy place.
yeah,
No.
but I do have a breakdown in it. Um, so we'll see what you guys think. I'm gonna send it to Dan and Jason shortly after this. I
Sweet.
gotta I gotta I gotta master it.
And
Um,
as the soonest that any of us could get the soundtrack would be after the game's release. Or, I mean, do you think it's possible that at one point, okay, now we know we have all the songs for the game. It's just a matter of, tying them to each
yeah,
area.
along the way we'll drop some tracks. Like I put out the Water God song.
I noticed that.
Um, so like yeah, each
Yeah, I
island
think,
has numerous songs, so like we'll put out like a track here and there as progression goes, for
I
And
sure.
think what
But the
you're
whole thing,
saying
yeah.
though is true though that once it's time to launch the game and everything's sort of set in stone, there will be a point where the soundtrack is set in stone and it will be before the game launches. I think that we will. I mean, I haven't thought about it much, but I think that for sure if that's the case, the Kickstarter people will get their soundtrack first. Um, and then as far as putting it on sale, yeah, we haven't talked about it if it will be on sale like before the game releases or after.
But
It'll
do you think it would
probably
be a
because
separate offering altogether?
yeah, it'll be on Steam too.
Yeah,
Which
so you
will
can
be
buy
like
the
a
game
free.
or buy the bundle
Ah,
with the
yeah.
Right,
soundtrack.
Okay.
right. So then yeah, I suppose it will be available at launch. And the other option is for the Kickstarter backers who've already paid for it. They'll probably be getting it earlier before it
Yeah, and
launches.
I'll put it we'll put it on all you know, music platforms.
Oh, awesome. So like
Right. So
SoundCloud and
you can always
Spotify,
buy it separately.
Yep.
Yeah.
the
Yep.
usuals. Awesome. Potty Guapo in the chat mentions we'll need several remixes too. And I've heard those remixes you already have on SoundCloud of some of the Okura tracks. Man, those are awesome. We definitely need
Hey,
more
thanks, man.
remixes. Have you
Yeah,
played
I
around
made the
on any more of that
title.
stuff yet? Or is that kind of you're just kind of back burner that until the stuff you actually might remix is done?
Yeah, that was kind of a new idea, uh, like from a few months ago, of like, hey man, why don't you make a remix? Oh yeah, that's kind of weird. Remix my own song though, but yeah, we did the title screen and that came out pretty bumping, I guess.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it
Pretty
came out really
jamming. Thanks.
Well,
Yeah.
there's obviously
So
demand for it, so we'll be
what would be
expecting to see
better
more.
if when I hear other people remix it, I would be humbled by that.
As soon as
That
the
sounds cool.
soundtrack is released,
Look
I'm
look forward
sure
to.
you will be getting sent fan remixes. I'm
Yeah.
sure of it.
Yeah, yeah. Hell yeah.
And what about like a fan? I mean, have you ever considered a level editor to include in this game, or is that like way too ambitious?
Um, okay, so I have gotten that question before and I have thought about it before and everything. But basically it's for now it's probably a no because it's such a big endeavor, especially with a game like this that combines so many different mechanics.
Yeah.
Um, but somebody said to me online, I think it was like in one of the there's like this thinky puzzle game Discord. Somebody said like, what's the return on investment on that? Like does it seem like there are people like champing at the bit to get to the Akira level editor?
Hmm.
Then yeah, that's probably a good idea. Sorry, it's really hot right now. There's this fly flying around
It's all
and
good.
probably smell really bad. But so yeah, it's just like it so far it doesn't seem like it will be a good thing to spend time on at the moment.
There's
I
just not
agree.
enough demand to really justify. You,
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to
If the
divert,
game
right?
if
It's
the
like
game
because
launches and it goes crazy, I mean, this is another thing is that if people are so passionate about the game, like I wouldn't be surprised if somebody makes their own mod with like a level editor or something. Then, you know, then they've
There,
already done that, and that's amazing.
yeah.
So yeah, so
yeah, there's ways.
for
There's a
now,
whole mod thing on Steam too.
yeah, the Steam like modding community is huge and stuff. So for now, it's just like I'm focusing on the core game and launching that. So
Hmm. Okay, I knew there was a question in chat earlier about mod support in general. I mean, is that just plug and play for what Steam has in place, or I mean, what extra steps do you need to take to make that possible?
yeah, well, I will do more research on that in the future.
Hmm.
And if there are like minor things that I can do to allow people to mod the game on Steam, then I will do them. And then after launch as well, if people show a demand, even if it's something that takes time for me to do, if people show interest in that, then I will do it. Um, and then like even people like hacking the game files and stuff. There are people who
Jason takes it as a compliment.
I do, I really do. There's already been some people who have been like hacking game files and stuff in weird ways, but like it's not a multiplayer game, so they're not ruining the experience for anybody else. It's part of the game for them. It's fun for them. Um, so I look forward to see like, what kind of weird ass shit people do. And
Yeah.
yeah.
One question we have here in chat, how are you both so cool? Is that something you can actually answer?
Hey, thanks for the love, chat.
Is it the length
Piggy,
of the
Toddy
facial hair?
Guapo, William. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the kind words, man. Yeah, every day I wake up and I just picture myself. How can I just get cooler?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then I wear sunglasses.
yeah. I would say that's a number one tip for sure. And just to add on to that, in my personal routine, when I wake up in the morning as well, I look at myself in the mirror with my huge pompadour and my pomade, and I just take
Yes.
out my switchblade comb and I am combing my pompadour, and I just tell myself,
You're just describing Grease right now. You're just describing the plot of Grease. Oh, man. The definition of cool, though. It sounds like you both have some great ways to stay cool this summer.
Leather jackets.
And Potty Guapo thinks it's the choice of deodorant, which makes one cool. And if you're an Old Spice gentleman, you're cool in my book.
for sure, Old Spice.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to add into the question about the sort of modding and stuff. So actually, Piggy Bank Studios, who's in the chat right now,
Yeah.
he has a fantastic game called Princess Castle Quest, which is another block pushing puzzle game. And he's a friend of mine. He created a sort of like decompiler for Akira where he was able to look at some of the game files and stuff, and he found some interesting things that could be optimized and stuff like that. So there's like there's like a perfect example where it's just like the more heads are better than one,
Yeah.
If there's like a million people out there who are like fucking around with the game files, they're gonna find stuff that's like, hey bro, like you could change this one thing and the game will be like 80% better, or something like that. Then
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to that, and it goes back to the thing we were talking about earlier about trying not to have an ego and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not, this isn't, this thing where I'm like, don't you dare touch my creation. Like people take it apart and they find problems and stuff, then I'm all about it.
Yeah. You can't be too crazy of a mad scientist hoarding your product and be like, don't touch. It's good. It's mine.
Right.
I did it.
Right. And
Piggy
that
Bank
just
Studios is the man. He's a big supporter of Akura and really
That's right.
appreciate it, man.
Piggy Bank, it's
Really
official. There is no bad blood between you and Jason. It's all good, man.
fantastic guy. And but yeah, I think it just goes into that thing where we're mad scientists, but we're also very cool in a grease sense. So I think it's that combination where we're mad scientists and we have lab coats, but we're also constantly combing our huge pompadours,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
sunglasses.
I'm picturing your next profile pic, man. We gotta put that Photoshop together. The lab coat, pompadour, and then your face with the switchblade comb right there. Oh man. So we got Mars Colony and soon Akura under the belt. Are there other Craig Culver? Al, that's a quick question I have. Where did the Lee come from, Craig? Because it's still on your SoundCloud. Is that your middle name?
It's the same as dude. It's my middle name, yeah.
That's right. Okay. I think we covered this in a chat, but
Two
we didn't make it
middle
public
names,
enough
Lee
that
and-
Craig has 3 middle names.
Yeah,
One of them is Lee,
yeah,
one of them is Dude.
I use a bunch of names. I'm fully Craig Lee Culver, But I mean, like, yeah. So like, some of my music is C. Lee,
Mm-hmm.
um, C. Lee Music on YouTube.
Again, look him up, try to get into his workplace.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to get
Download.
those
Good
recording
shout.
tracks sent to you so you can remix them. Actually, is what you should try to
Yeah.
do. But my question was, after, I mean, are there going to be more, or excuse me, wait, we did actually, we talked about this already. This is the first fully fledged, since Mars Colony was a game jam, this is a first full product from you two. There's going to be more in the future. Are they going to be puzzle games? Is that what you're looking to do next, Jason? Or do you want to do another genre?
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. There are we there's another game that we worked on, there's two other game jam games that we worked on, and one of them is like so fucking I'm so all about it. It's gonna be a full game. Um, it's called Card Grabber.
Card grabber?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm
Find
you
it,
need
intrigued.
play
to
it,
you
love
need
it.
to look up Card Grabber. This is gonna be one of our games in the future, 100%. It just needs to be expanded out a bit more. It's gonna be a sort of a bit of a Pokemon style game. Um, and so we have like fun, just fun random stuff like that. But the next major game I think will be this style of game where it's just like um not the same genre, but like these sort of thinking games that make you that like broach a wide audience,
Hmm.
because that's like the number one thing I've enjoyed with Akira is that such a wide audience enjoys the game,
Hmm.
and it makes people think, it makes people explore. Like I love that. I've become addicted to that.
Yeah.
So I think that the next sort of like main game that all three of us, me, Craig, and Dan, work on will be in that vein. And I have nothing to tell you about yet about what that's going to be like
Ah.
or what that's going to be about. But for now, know that we do have like, these random things that we work on together for game jams or talk about that are like sort of smaller projects and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And look forward to those as well because I think Card Grabber is going to be like that's going to be one of the main ones that's a smaller project for us. The music involved in it is so exciting to me and also something that's like right up Craig's alley that's different than Akura because Akura is like this sort of like invented musical style that's hard to grasp, but Craig has nailed it. But Card Grabbers music is going to be this funky ass Toe Jam and Earl slapping music, and
I love that
everybody's gonna love
description.
that.
Funky ass toe jam and Earl slapping. That's, you don't need any more
Yeah,
words to describe a good
it's
music.
on itch.io, right?
Yeah, you can play it on itch.io. I'm not sure if I fixed a bunch of bugs and stuff, but I think what's available online right now might be the Game Jam version, which has like some game-breaking bugs in it, but
Just yeah, it's in the
uh,
comments, or you put it in the
And
description.
this
But yeah,
is
okay,
just
yeah.
card
it's a
grabber?
goof. It's a
That
goof
Yeah.
idea for now, but yeah.
because I didn't see it, like I found Mars Colony by going to your profile on Itch, but I didn't see any other projects there.
Yeah, maybe I didn't. Maybe I don't have a itch.io page for it yet.
Oh,
I
yeah.
will,
And you
well,
know what?
yes,
The reason for that may be because I thought, I think we're gonna make this into a real game, so I'm not gonna put it out there.
that makes sense.
Um, I will send you a copy though,
Yeah, I'd love to
And
play it. I'd love to hear the funky ass music as well.
yeah, it's gonna be fun, and it's a small project. It's a fun little thing. So we're gonna do that, and then yeah, as far as the future, it's like I think it for the immediate future, it's gonna be like um not games similar to Akira, but sort of like games that challenge people to explore and think and
Mentally engaging games, right? And that's what
yeah.
that new fund is all about, that Astra thing, right? It's like you guys were
Mhm.
chosen because your gameplay is mentally engaging, and I fully agree with that. I think that's why it's so appealing and so accessible. It's like it's so engaging, but at this very basic level that doesn't need any text or signposts, and just like some arrows in the sand on that first screen, and you're on your way. I'm just floored, guys. I'm really impressed by all your work and effort into this game. It's really impressive, and I hope to see a quicker release date than expected. But I'm sure everybody says that. A few more questions from chat. I see Piggybank was wondering how long did the title artwork take to make? Was it one of the
Mm.
first things you made? Was that a late edition before you put out the first demo? Just make sure I got a title screen up there.
Yeah, I don't remember, but
I think it was pretty quick.
yeah,
You whipped it up pretty good.
One of those in the zone moments and
yeah,
just kind
but
of flowing out the
I
mouse.
just remember Jason saying like, "Hey, I'm working on this like animation title screen thing." Because before it was just like, bam, Mysterious Islands. It's just one thing, and then
Hmm.
it seemed like it was we
yeah,
whipped it up,
that
whipped it up
update
pretty quick, pretty good.
that update from like Mysterious Islands to a real title screen was pretty quick. It was like overnight. That's kind of my workflow with pixel art when it comes to um the grandiose sort of pixel art because I have a bit of a traditional art um, background. So um, I feel that once I'm inspired to make a sort of full screen pixel art thing, it goes pretty quickly. For instance, like the gods on each island and stuff. Once I decide like, all right, it's time to make this god for this island, I'll end up doing it the initial thing at least like pretty quickly,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all about the iterations and going back and correcting things and stuff. So for instance, the title screen as it stands, that's not going to be the full as it is. It's not going to be in the final game version. I have a lot of polishing to do, I feel.
Hmm.
But if you, for instance, if you go and you look at the stone god in the demo, and if you look at any of the streams of the tidal reef, or if you played the tidal reef yourself, if you were an alpha tester or something, you can see that there's a marked difference in the quality of the pixel art.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's something that I'm going to go back to and revamp the stone god and bring it up to that same level of quality. Um, yeah, it's just over time getting better and better at honing in on the style.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's all about narrowing in on the style because it's like you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have some hammered down style and consistency, then it's going to be all over the place, you know?
Yeah. Without direction, you're wandering, and you're just kind of
Mhm.
doing whatever comes to mind, which can work for, the first portion of game development, for the proof of concept stuff, right? It's fun to wander
Yeah,
around and just experiment, but
yeah,
you gotta start implementing restrictions if you want to actually make progress and continue going in a specific direction. Yeah, find the
Mhm.
lane and stick with it. Great
Yeah.
advice, Jason. Do you feel like you've gotten better at puzzle design over time? I mean, was there? I mean, I think we talked about throwing stuff away earlier, and it's like, has there
Yeah.
been anything in the early part of the game that is like really eradicated now? It was so bad, or it was so impossible, or so easy, like it's not even worth keeping in anymore.
Yeah, 100%. I think that I've gotten better at everything that's involved in the game. And I think that goes for all of us, Craig and Dan as well. Um, yeah, puzzle design specifically, absolutely, because in the beginning, um, I would have not considered myself somebody that knew how to design puzzles at all.
Hmm.
Um, and now I had a sort of background in a basic sense just from like growing up making games for my friends in real life. Like I would like invent games for us to play, and I would make up like
Sure did.
sidewalk chalk games and stuff. Um, and like I played D&D since who knows when, like so so I
Jason would
had
get
like
so mad if I didn't want to play D&D. You better
True
come play.
brothers.
yeah. So I had some basis in that. Um, but as far as designing puzzles for this kind of game, I had no experience, and it came down to doing a lot of research and and creating things and then having people play them and going based on feedback and stuff. Um, so 100% have gotten better over time, and even better once the game was more public and you have people from the puzzle game community who are like really experts in this stuff playing the game, and giving feedback. And yeah, I just taking all that feedback and stuff and trying to like really distill it and everything. Like I'm
Mm,
not just like, you know, somebody says, "Oh, you should put a block there" or something. Like it's not like that. It's just like,
yeah.
sort of general puzzle design advice and stuff. And I take all that stuff to heart. And like we have, Piggy Bank Studios and chat and stuff, and he's in that community and everything, and he's got a great puzzle game of his own. And people in the puzzle game community were excited right away, by the
Mm-hmm.
game. And so that was great. So I knew that I was doing something right.
Yeah, that kind of validation is important and not very common too for like when you're just putting your indie project out there against the experts and the people who know what's good and indirectly who you're trying to impress. It's like, no, I'm not doing this
Yeah.
to impress these people, but that's a major bonus points.
Yeah, and I think I have a little bit of an advantage in that since I'm sort of new to this, um, I'm sort of going based on, like I said earlier, what I think is fun and what my friends would think is fun.
Hmm.
I was trying to make a game that my friends would enjoy. Um, so I'm not hung up on any limitations about like what does the puzzle game community believe is acceptable or um, best practices or things like that. Um, so I think in some ways I'll end up breaking out from that a little bit, and that's where some of the surprises come from because um, people might think like, you have these preconceived notions. This should end up being this way, but because I'm sort of like blundering my way through it, it doesn't end up being that way, you know?
Right. And there's some things you have to feel out, you know. Nobody has the book on it all. And when you are starting to discover that what you're creating has its own personality and its own life and its own set of rules that now you need to follow, it's like, oh, what? Like I've created my own guidelines and I've created this path, and now I've really got to stick to it. And you know, you can't let those things like trying to impress people, that in the end it's like that they don't really matter, but to have the recognition of the community that you're trying to contribute to is huge.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, but part of it too is that in the beginning, like I said, was that I was seeking no recognition.
Right.
It was a hobby project for myself and friends, and they enjoyed it, and that was enough for me.
Yeah.
Because I have, so much respect for my friends. I think they all have such great ideas and opinions that once I got that feedback from them that they all enjoyed what I was doing, that was when I was like, holy shit, like this is something that's worthwhile and maybe I should dedicate myself to it, you know?
And here we are a year later. Is it more than a year since you started, or is it just
I
about a
think
year
it's
now?
more than a year, I think, but yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, more than a year for sure. It's about 2 years
Yeah,
now because the
yeah.
Kickstarter was about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first sent the game to my friends was like I think about a year before that.
Got it. And I mean, are you feeling like things have went pretty on track, on schedule as much as they could have been, or have things changed for better and for worse? I mean, life is a roller coaster, obviously, but
For better,
sometimes these
for
projects go a
better,
little smoother than expected, right?
for better for now because now you have more time with the grant, which
Mm,
means people will get a better product. Might take a little longer to release, but you're gonna get something better.
yeah. Well, you're gonna get the original
Yeah.
vision, right? And that's what, yeah, that's what we really want. Is
Yeah, as Craig said, the grant is like life-changing, man. It's like it's no longer a thing about, like we were talking about earlier, there's so many Kickstarter projects that don't get finished. Um, Beforehand, it was a kind of a thing where it's like, okay, I have all these ideas, but I have to create something based on the funding from the Kickstarter that's like a sort of a minimal idea, you
mm,
know. The funding is a huge help with that, where we're getting, I think we're going to be very close to uh, an amazing version of the game that I will be very happy with. Um, and yeah, it's during the whole process though, um, although this is my first commercial game, I did a lot of research, and that's like one of the number one things is that, it's always going to take so much longer than you think. And I worked in the tech industry before this, and it's the same kind of idea with the 90/90 idea, if you ever heard that, where it's like 90% of your product is going to take 90% of the time, and then the last 10% of your project is going to take another 90% of your time. So it's basically like adds up to way more than 100 because everything is always going to take more longer than you expect.
mm-hmm.
So I was always trying to think about that during the whole time. And even on the Kickstarter, I was kind of like, I think it will take 1 to 2 years to develop. Um, and I think we're still kind of on track with that with like 2 years, you know? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I never had my hopes up about like I don't think I ever deceived myself or Craig and Dan or anything about that kind of like unrealistic deadline.
That's
So
good. That's lucky, because that's a common pitfall, is just like keep pushing it back, like setting the early date in hopes that you will just pull through and kick ass. But, it's just, you don't know what you don't know. You get to a problem that you can't solve, and that's usually where it spirals down from there.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I have gone through our conversation, we really have touched on all the questions I had. I think we touched on all the questions in chat.
What's up? Shout outs to my sister Sid in the chat. How you
Yeah.
doing?
Oh shit! What's up? Nice.
Oh, you know what? There are a
Oh,
few
I
more
have that.
questions here. Is there going to be more
I
than one
wanted.
ending? Multiple endings for Akura?
Hmm.
Which is the
Yes.
first time I've said it correctly. Like to make that known.
Yes, there will be. Oh yeah, let's address that real quick because I don't know if I had really addressed it
I don't
fully
know
in
if
the
we
beginning.
explicitly
Was that
stated now.
like so the name Akura is from this New Zealand um, myth, and I'm not from New Zealand, so I don't judge people at all if they're mispronouncing it. I'm probably mispronouncing it. So don't feel bad at all. Don't worry about that. Say it, however you're gonna say it.
Akura.
But then sorry, okay, what was the question about that?
Multiple endings.
Multiple
Oh
endings.
yeah. Yes, there definitely will be multiple endings. Um, one of the goals with this game, as you've seen with the lack of text in the game and sort of tutorials by exploration, is accessibility and availability to as wide an audience as possible. Um, there will be endings that are sort of minimal endings, but still satisfying, I think. Um, and and beyond. So there will be multiple endings.
You did mention
And
you were going nuts to reward the 100
yeah,
percenters
yeah,
who get 100% of it.
yep.
If you 100% the game, Jason wants to reward you.
Like
Yep.
physically?
There will
Gonna
Are you
you
give
going to
get
you a
give me a
smooch.
100%.
physical reward is what I really meant?
I'm gonna fly out to your location, give you a handshake personally.
Nice.
No, but for reals though, there will be multiple endings. I'm not sure how many yet because that's going to be based
10,
on time and everything and the final
please.
gameplay. But yeah, there's gonna be at least I think three endings, which is a minimal ending.
Close, Craig. It goes up like this.
This many endings. At least there will be a one minimal ending, and there will be 100% ending, and there will be at least one in between.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, I was going to say, is it you're imagining it being based on what you collect or what you interact with?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
what kind of oh yeah, one other question I didn't get to was like what are some of the backer rewards that you either haven't fulfilled yet? I mean, obviously you can't do like some of the things like soundtrack or maybe merch, like you wouldn't get around to that till the release anyway. But like what are you most excited to fulfill that you haven't yet?
I
That,
know.
yeah, you
Well,
know, Craig.
let's see what you say,
That
Jason.
Akuda power.
Yeah.
Akuda power. Okay, wait. It sounds like you guys have two different things that you're most excited. So, Jason,
No,
yours is
same.
Akuda power. What's this?
What was yours, Craig? Was it the same?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the
Yeah.
same. Okay, what is it?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're working on, and there's been some little previews of this and stuff for the Kickstarter backers to it's basically like a retro video game magazine style thing. It's a
Awesome.
magazine that is about Akira, and it's retro themed, and dude, I've had so much fun just setting it up already, where it's just full of silly stuff that's very kind of 80s themed.
It's kind of like,
about the
so
game.
if you remember Nintendo Power,
That's what came to
is kind of,
mind, but I didn't want to guess wrong. I was like, is it like
and
Nintendo
then
Power?
so yeah, though there's gonna be stuff about the game, just like comedy and kind of like if anybody
Legally
ever,
distinct, but visually similar to Nintendo Power.
yeah, and like
Right.
if anyone was knows about Earthbound for Super Nintendo, it came with this magazine, and there's just all this fun. It's like a guide,
Hmm.
but there's all this fun things in comic strips and just yeah,
Just all this
silly
extra
silly
content
stuff.
that you really wouldn't
Wh- J-
find anywhere else outside of
Yeah,
like,
what
Right.
Jason's already come up with is just freaking hilarious, man.
and it's all stuff that would be involved in this in a physical print of a magazine, or was it be a digital ad or digital mag?
Well, so the one thing that saddens me is that since this is our first Kickstarter project and we're all just three individuals, so it was kind of very difficult and just putting ourselves out there just to get the game made. We couldn't do any physical rewards except for some stickers. We got that going. Um, so it's going to be a PDF for now, but what I want to do is to have contact some on-demand printing services in various countries and say, here's the thing that's going to be printed, um, and people can come there and buy it and order a printed magazine. And I want to have the Kickstarter backers will get a discount for that because they already sort of paid for it, not a physical copy, but they're going to get some kind of discount on it
Right.
to get a physical version.
That's awesome. That's
Um,
such a great idea. Yeah, way to circumvent the massive costs of trying to get an actual magazine printed. Like who was even doing that for their Kickstarter? I don't know, but great idea. I hope that works out in the best way.
yeah, me too. And also we think that it will be a good way to promote the game as well because we're going to order obviously some physical copies for ourselves because this is just so amazing and insane for us to be like making a game and finishing a game and stuff. So like I want to send physical copies to people who have not covered the game because that's been like a big issue where we were talking about earlier. There's so much noise in the indie game scene, right? And so I've contacted so many different platforms and Twitter accounts and websites and things like that. And of course, the major ones like PC gaming or what's that one? Yotaku, Otaku,
Go
Kotaku,
to
Kotaku,
Kotaku.
tacos.
Otaku means something else,
Yeah,
but
just send them
yeah,
send them a bunch of swag, and then they might write an
yeah,
article.
Yeah, those
that's
outlets only
exactly it.
respond to swag.
That's exactly it. Wow, we're interested to see if I send, like Kotaku, like an actual magazine for this game, like, will they respond? We'll see.
I feel like
Yeah.
Hope they do.
I feel like you could get a response out of anybody if you just send them something like that. It's kind of a surprise gift. I mean, yeah, I'm Potty Guapo in the chat. They better respond, or else Jason and Craig coming for you.
And take you out to dinner.
I saw earlier, uh, what job saw, what job saw asked about the difficulties with the retro style, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I forgot to mention one thing, which was that with the real quick with the 16 by 16 tiles, um, there have been so many difficulties with visual communication that have taken many iterations where it's just like one pixel can make a difference at that scale,
Hmm.
where you just see something and then some it's clear to you as the artist or something, and then everybody that plays this is like, what's that, a burrito? And you're like, no, what? Like we
It's a bell.
like yeah, in early versions of the demo, the topaz gems, which you nailed on your playthrough, by the way. You said topaz, and you got it right.
Wow.
After
So
calling it
What a
in
orange
scholar.
diamond, if you remember correctly.
yeah,
But yes, I
in the
ended up on
beginning,
Topaz.
there was a version where those were like triangles, and everybody was calling them Doritos, which I'm not
Right.
against.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious, but
Yeah.
I was like, it's got to be more clear that it's a gem, right? And it took
Yeah.
about like 4 pixels to make a difference, you know? So yeah, it's tough to communicate with that with such a small canvas for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Sid, it's gonna be on Switch. Um
From Sydney.
first PC and Mac, I believe, and then once that all gets hashed out, it's going to Switch. As long as people are still playing the Switch at that time.
As long as
Well,
Or maybe
Nintendo.
it'll be the Switch 2.
people already paid for the Switch port, so it's coming to Switch no matter what, even if they have to go to the thrift store to get their old Switches back.
Business. Now
Yeah.
that's business, friends. Well done. Okay, I'm scanning chat one more time, see if there's anything else we missed.
I see lots of top-notch Dorito comments. I like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, speaking of those low resolutions, one last question I had about it's like really specific, but the musical instruments, they're all over. They're like part of every solution basically because of the chimes and the bell and the gong switches, right? Red, blue, green, and yellow. Or no, there's no green, but red, blue, and yellow. Were those always like those items, or did those also take iterations? Like, were they other instruments at one point? Were they just something else entirely, just a basic on-off switch?
Yeah, those changed over time for sure. There was a time when those were like temporary keys,
Hmm.
um, where you had to go actually get a key that was one of those colors and then go to the
Oh
lock.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
dang, back in the day, dude.
Yeah, way back.
Kind of like the big keys that you get like later on.
Well, it was interesting because the keys were temporary for the screen you were on.
Oh. Hmm.
And so it was kind of like the the bells as they work now, but with an extra step in that you had to be the one that actually physically went to the lock after you got the key.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like added an extra step. I think it changed the puzzle design a lot, and it also I think it did where the game is at now. It doesn't fit at all with the game design and the feel of the game because it adds a step, it adds complexity, it adds confusion because you have to figure out this new thing about like with the bells, it's very immediate. Like you press the bell and then there's this beautiful gong sound and the stone that's blocking your way disappears. And that's so straightforward, right?
Yeah. Excellent visual language with that stuff.
Yeah, so it had definitely been through some different versions, and the thing that we arrived on now, I think, is the best version. And once we got to that point, that's when Craig came up with the 3 different sounds. And if you notice, each one is a different kind of instrument. So the red one is kind of like a one bell, and it makes like a bell sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then the blue one is kind of like chimes and it makes a chime sound. And the gold one is a gong and it makes like a gong sound.
I love
So
it.
all of Craig's sounds like sync up with the visuals there.
and they feel like they belong, you know, and that's why I kind of wondered, like, were they something else before? Because they feel so well placed and so much like part of the world that it's like, did you get that on the first try or?
No, no, no. I think everything you see in the game, that if there's anything in the game that you think is good, like we didn't get it on the first try.
Yeah. Well, except for the title theme. What, Craig?
Yeah,
What?
that's true.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Um, yeah. But then again, even with that, it's like you had we had to come at it with a solid base, right? Like it was like it's not like my point is for people out there who want to make games or want to be creative, make music, make art, whatever they want to do. I want to tell them that if you think something is bad, like the first time you do it, like that's so totally normal. It's gonna be, you will even think that something is great for like a while, and then you go, oh wait, it's awful. Um, it just takes time and iterations, and even with that beautiful title screen, it's like we didn't just start from nowhere. Like we had this demo. Um, Me and Craig had an understanding. Craig has so much experience with music and things like that. It's not just like he's just some random guy that said like, "Oh, let's try this," and then it worked. It's like there's a lot behind it, and so don't get discouraged at all if it doesn't work the first time, because
Oh,
it
yeah, for
it
sure.
probably won't.
Yeah, you'd be very lucky. But even if it is good at first try, whatever, you get lucky. Guess what? You're still probably gonna have to fix some things.
Yeah. Or you might just end
Mhm.
up hating it, even if it is like still objectively good later
Yeah,
on to everybody else. If you don't like it, it's not good anymore. So change it if you want. One,
There's so many. The demo has changed a lot from the original demo, even.
how many versions? I know we're at 3.0, right? So at least
Yeah,
three,
way more than three.
I imagine.
Yeah, and yeah, there's been so many stages where people have, the whole time, they're saying such positive things and they love it and everything, but it still could be better.
Yeah.
So
Can't
yeah.
wait to
I
see
gotta
how you're going
thank
to improve it
everyone.
again.
Gotta thank everyone who's checked out Akura and played it, and everyone's kind words. Like, it's really special. Like, Jason is a wizard at puzzles, and pixel art. Jesse, this was like way more like professional than I imagined, dude.
Oh, hey, thanks for saying
You
that.
crushed it as host. I'll let you host me anytime.
Oh, thanks, guys. I
yeah,
really appreciate that. It was
yeah.
super fun for me too. I was totally new experience, so we were winging it, but it worked out, and it was a blast, like I
And
said it would be. So that's a mission accomplished in my book.
your your interest in Akura is just humbling, man. Like thank you so much. And
I
you
genuinely
got a
am, and
nice
I'm
set of
looking forward to
questions,
the
and
next chapter.
dude,
Now
very
we need
cool,
one
man.
more piece of advice. Hold on. Potty Guapo needs beard grooming tips.
You go like this, I think.
That's step one, maybe, for Jason. I can start to do that, but it's too wiry, so it just kind of looks like tree roots as I start to do it more and more.
Looks legit.
Yeah. I
Mine's really porcupiney if I let it go. It's like
Got a whole animal
I
kingdom on the show
cactus,
tonight.
the
I
cactus on my
think
upper
that's
lip if I do
that's what it's all about. Is going with your style that your hair grows into.
it.
Because you see all these crazy different facial hair styles, right? In like, old illustrations and stuff like that. And what I've realized over time is that those were not like invented. It was just like that dude's hair grew like that.
That's what he was given, and he just dealt with it in a very majestic
Exactly.
way
Like
sometimes.
Yeah, like they didn't have the luxuries that we do with hair trimming. So if a dude's hair was like, oh, there's like no hair here, and that's like a cool style now, but he didn't have a choice. That was how his hair grew, you know.
Yeah.
I pray every night that someday I'll wake up and be able to do the whole horseshoe all the way.
The old biker
But
Fu
I can't do it.
Manchu.
I can't do it. Hard to
Yeah,
connect.
but do some kind of like moisturizing thing with your facial hair though, for sure. There's like beard oil, there's like hair what do you call it? There's like shit that you're supposed to put in your hair that's like make your hair soft. It's like
I think you can use conditioner
Hair softener.
in your.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
use
some you
conditioner
know
on your
something
facial
like
hair.
that. But there's like hair
Or like a laundry softener. You put it in your beard.
lotion type things, whatever. You can put that in your beard. You can do
I'm
all
just
that in
gonna
your
rub
beard.
dryer sheets on my face and hope for the best. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
dryer sheets.
All
That's
right,
the
guys.
way
I
to
think we've reached the pinnacle of Q&A with these questions about facial hair care.
Very good, man. If you want to do it again sometime, let us know when
Yeah.
things are more progressed.
Thank you so much for your time, truly. Thank you for all who joined us here. We will chat again some other time, and this will all be on Twitch and YouTube for anybody who couldn't make it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Cheers, everybody.
Adios.